I've achieved many things is because I had to strive very hard just to survive. Um, I overcame bipolar disorder 22 years ago, which is considered a very serious mental illness. And most doctors say it's an illness you have for the rest of your life. A debilitating illness where they say there's no cure. And most people that end up in the system need serious medication, and that also has serious side effects, often for the rest of their life. And it's easy to lose the dream. I attribute the fact that I'm not sick anymore, for one, and that I've achieved a lot of my goals to two simple things. One is hope, and one is persistence. That's just the short form of my formula. I've never lost sight of the hope, and at one point where I actually did, in time I reclaimed it. And for those of you that follow astrology at all, I'm a Taurus. And one of the traits of a Taurus is persistence.
Mm-hmm.
True. Persistent. The thing with persistence is it's important to persist towards a direction that you're looking for, but sometimes we choose the wrong goal or the wrong direction to get to the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point do we say, well, okay, you can give up the goal, which I don't recommend, but you can give up that path and choose another path to the goal. Maya Angelou is one of the people in my book, Hope and Heroes, which is a book I achieved by assessing and reassessing goals. And she says, when life gives you a mountain, you go around it, through it, over it. And I agree completely. Life is always full of challenges. How do we overcome the challenges? I believe life has a system, and we have to learn the system. But it's not just a system that you may get on a conference call, or a system mom and dad may have taught you, or a system you may have heard from your church, mosque, synagogue. It's a system that you take from systems provided to you, but also look at creating your own system. What works for you? We now have, as of 10 days ago, 7 billion people in the world, and I believe every person here on the planet has to find their own way. Now, my life partner, June, is a professor at U of T in women's and gender and equity. She keeps reminding me that, like hope, dreams, persistence. Well, what if you're living in some undeveloped country and you have all these things, but you can't get access to healthcare, education, or things? So then what do you do when you can't get a plane ticket or a visa out to another country? So sometimes there are limits, and again, how do we work with those limits? But I still believe where there's a dream and you work on a plan, that you will find a way, or you may find a mentor. Our previous Lieutenant Governor, James Barlowin, who actually is speaking at a conference where I am tomorrow for the Peel Catholic School Board, Toronto Congress Center. He's half Aboriginal and grew up poor in Muskoka, and said he didn't have a lot of chances to get ahead. And he's working at a farm, and he worked really hard. And the owner was wealthy. He says, young James, he says, what grade are you in? And he said, I'm grade like 5 or 6. He says, you'll get straight A's every single year. I'll pay for your way all the way through university. So he attracted a mentor. So sometimes by a good work ethic and a good attitude, you never know who may be impressed and inspired by us, or we can impress and inspire other people. My book, Hope and Heroes, which maybe I could kick back for you for a little bit here, and then we'll pass it around. The Achievement of a Dream. This is the first of my 2 books. Hope and Heroes has 47 people. A lot of them are famous on the world stage, others famous in their communities. People who have made a difference for good in the world from all different religious backgrounds and all different ages, upbringings, and everything. So it's a book that have you had a look at it yet? Here? Okay, I'll pass it over here. It's a book where I had a dream about 12 years ago. And it was just a few years after I moved out of a psychiatric boarding house where I had a very bad relapse starting in 1986 when I used to be ill from bipolar disorder. And I gave up all hope while I was living there. But eventually I got out and got past the illness, which is a lecture in itself of overcoming mental illness. And I had a dream of putting together a book. And I had an opportunity to say to myself, well, how could I do it? Why should I do it? Where do you start? It's only me. It's only Barry. We can always be our own worst enemy, and I have at times been my own worst enemy. But we also have an opportunity to be our best friend. And when we set a goal and we write down the goal and we look at a path to get to the goal, we, in many, many cases, can achieve it. So getting this book together was a fulfillment of a dream that also had nearly 200 rejections from publishers and publishing agents when I was working on putting it together. And with every rejection, I had the opportunity to say, well, obviously these people know more than me and their publishers and their agents, and they don't believe in the book. Why don't I just forget about it and move on? But I said, no, this dream has value and merit, and I want to achieve it. And I'm a Taurus. I'm persistent. But you don't have to be a Taurus to be persistent. You could be any sign of the world. If you believe in something and you want it to happen, I believe you can achieve it. Is there any questions? I could go on and on and on, but I know it's a short time. Is there any questions at the moment on what I've talked about?
Well, I don't have a question. I just have a comment about Daring to Dream.
Okay.
And what you're saying is very true because the Become the Boss website, for years it's been like a static website with first it started off with one page, and then I went to 2 pages, and the second page was like a registration form, and nothing was happening. And I decided, well, it needs to make it more interactive. I need to make it database powered. And so in around Christmas 2008, I decided, well, I'm not getting any closer to taking a course that would allow me to develop a database powered website. So I'm going to do go to the University of Google. In other words, go search on Google on how to build a website that is database driven.
So you're taking initiative, which is so important.
Yeah.
So very, very important.
And it took me 10 days to learn what I needed to learn and modify the website to what it is today. And if I didn't dare to dream about doing it, I wouldn't have done this.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I want to add another piece that in addition to setting a goal, and you have to write it down. All the books I've read, you can't just keep it in your head. Because by writing it down is the first step to making it tangible. Mm-hmm. And write it down, get an education, maybe find a mentor, do test marketing, and getting it out there. Is that when we get out there, sometimes life will support us. I learned about synchronicity over many, many years. That what we are searching for, what we're putting out there, others are looking for the same thing, and that we can, in a sense, attract other people through the fear of us, or even call it in a spiritual sense. I've had many opportunities over the years where by my hard work and my persistence that I've happened on the right person, or they've happened on me, or they've showed up even at my door in all amazing, amazing ways. And I've come to believe that there is a plan and a flow to the universe. And the only way we really can align ourselves with it is by being true to ourselves and working hard and working smart. If you're into religion, then prayer. If you're into spirituality on its own, it can be meditation, visualization. I read about visualization in many books, and I first thought it was hocus pocus. And the definition is anything the subconscious mind can conceive. I haven't said it for a while. The subconscious mind cannot differentiate between reality and an image vividly imagined. So I would go back when I was rebuilding my life many years ago, sleeping on the floor in my sleeping bag, and say, well, can I close your eyes and paint a picture in your mind's eye of everything you want, or cut out pictures from magazines of anything you want, and tell your subconscious mind that what you want you already have. And I thought it was hocus pocus, but I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a lot in a sense, and I would do it. But you can't just then sit home and have a coffee and read the book The Secret and expect the phone's going to ring. doesn't work that way. Fine, you can read the book, The Secret, but you've also got to put effort into it. And that with visualization and also actually work, tangible work, you put an energy out there and you increase the chance of good luck coming your way. Now, good luck's not going to do it all for you, but it's going to assist you along the way. And I've had amazing instances along the way of people who I've happened on or vice versa or situations of great opportunities that opened up. So dare to dream, but in addition, you got to work hard. And I believe if you have a spiritual focus or a higher intention of doing good, that you can attract. But you still have to do the legwork. I believe in salesman's odds. Knock on 10 doors, one will open. Sometimes bad salesman's odds are knock on 20 doors. One will open, and maybe they'll want to buy Tupperware from you, or maybe they'll want to buy your service.
But actually, I can attest to that, because when I came to Canada, I only knew 3 people.
Yeah.
And one of them was two in the province, and she had a Tupperware party. And she said, come, and I said, Tupperware, what's that? She said, oh, this plastic stuff, come and see.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it and decided to make a career, but to sell it to make friends. And I was only going to do it for a few weeks, 5, 6 weeks, whatever. I had no idea. 43 years later, I'm still doing it.
Good.
Okay, and the only way I had to build it was knocking on doors. Knocking on doors, and I was absolutely terrified. It took me 4 years to get my knees over there.
Yeah.
4 years. I'm very persistent.
Yeah.
But in the end, I decided nobody's going to stop me. It was just nonsense, and I didn't know anything about the product. I went to do demonstrations, and the people there would tell me how to use the product. Because I memorized the book and stood up.
Yeah.
Right? And they just came in, and along the way, I've met some tremendous people that have helped me and expanded. I guess that's why nobody can convince me that I must quit Tupperware forever. Because every time I quit, I come back. So
You raise a good point about people. You met good people that support you. It's so important. Like we're individuals, but we're also part of communities. And I believe the way to work through is to maintain independence, but also we're part of the community and be strong in yourself, but also strong in your community.
Mm-hmm.
And if your community says, well, you know you can't do it, they're not really trying to hurt you. They're actually sharing their negative feelings. Maybe you should spend less time with them and find people who believe in themselves and believe in you.
Yeah.
Hanging around with toxic people is like taking a bit of poison.
Mary?
Yes.
One thing I was thinking about when you were speaking this morning, you kept saying dare to dream. And I think the thing that reminded me was dare to stick your hand up. Because sometimes there's an opportunity and you actually have to say, if somebody says, I need a volunteer for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to dare to dream. You have to dare to actually stick your hand up.
Get out of your comfort zone.
And it's going to, the door is open, but if you don't stick your hand up or you walk through the door or whatever, and I think there's a lot of opportunities we missed because we hesitated.
True. And my biggest client right now are 2 school boards right now, the Peel Catholic School Board and the Peel School Board. And tomorrow I'm at the Toronto Congress Centre where there's 3,000 people for a PD day, and I'm doing a breakout session for 500 people. The topic is overcoming mental illness. And the reason I got this work is because I talked to a stranger on a ski hill 4 years ago in Quebec. I shared this, I think, So it goes like this. I'm a member of the High Park Ski Club. My partner and we're out there. And after my lesson, I was talking to this woman. Her name is Jan. And I said, what do you do for a living? And she says, she's a principal for the Peel School Board. And I said, well, tell me about it. She says, well, we're in a sort of an underserved area. We get extra funding. I said, well, I can help you spend it. And she hired me to do 2 presentations to her school and follow-up workshops. And now she's a superintendent in the Peel School Board. And then her school board and the Peel Catholic School Board put together a documentary on myself, on my life overcoming mental illness. And now I'm doing a lot of speaking in both boards, and I got tons of referrals. So it's just like, because I just spoke to a stranger. It doesn't mean, go stand in the corner and
Oh, I've done that too. I've done that
yeah,
too.
and I bet you could. But it's like,
When you don't know anybody, that's you
I
do
know.
whatever it takes to meet people, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Sometimes we need to break out of our shyness. I still have my shy periods. It's finding the place inside yourself where you just want to talk to another person. You never know how